since we've been talking about Arrow, we've got our special guest today, Barry Nerling here we're going to talk to. Hey, Barry.
Nice to see you. Thanks for having me.
Thanks for being here, man.
Indeed.
Okay, so your character in Arrow is the mechanic.
That's correct. Yes. You've done your research. He really has.
I know the name of your dude.
It started off as a stunt role, and then they ended up bringing the characters back, the guy that plays my boss as well as myself. We're basically two Russian mobsters that are part of the Bratva, the Brotherhood, and we work out of a garage. That's our cover, and right now Oliver Queen and / the Arrow is coming to us for information on kind of like local crimes and guys that we're after, or that he's after.
And you said the Bratva, not the Bratwurst.
No,
the Bratva.
The Bratva.
Bratva. People
Yes.
can confuse that with bratwurst, which is a type of sausage, in case you're not aware.
Yes.
So you started off as a stunt. I didn't actually know it was a stunt role.
It was.
It ended up being a stunt role.
Yep.
Stunt actor?
Stunt actor, because it was more about the performance after the fact.
right.
The stunt wasn't like a big stunt, but it was enough where you had to know what you're doing, and so everything's safe. Exactly.
Yeah. Which was great. I think anybody who watched it felt your pain in the background. The ooh ooh ah ah. It was rather amusing watching you do the ooh ooh ah ah.
Absolutely was. It was like a big baby. Like, you broke my finger.
Yeah.
Yeah, it was good. And the cast and crew over there are fantastic. I think the show is going to be around a while. I'm supposed to be going back for a couple more episodes. We shot 103 back in August, and then we just shot 112, I think 3 weeks ago. So I won't be back into the new year.
And now you get to talk. You actually have a speaking role.
I do, and I actually had to speak with a Russian accent, which was very new to me.
Right.
A little bit of pressure, but Eugene Lipinski, who plays my boss on the show, he's a seasoned actor, and he knows how to do all the accents, so he took me aside, we tweaked it a little bit, and he said, "You got it, don't change a thing." And the director loved it, everybody thought it was Russian, so I think I did a good job.
That must have been a nice feeling.
After it was over,
And
hell
also
yeah.
to your peers and your, the people above you and all that stuff, too.
Exactly. And it was a little, it's a little stressful. It's just on you, and here we go. They hadn't heard me speak with the Russian accent yet, so I think I pulled it off.
Now, going into Arrow, you didn't really know much about Green Arrow as a character, did you? It was probably a vague thing, I'm guessing?
Absolutely, and I actually learned a little bit more about it from you, just being involved with the show and all.
Right.
And so it was a good thing to see how they're doing the show as compared to the comic book. And I know there's been a lot of changes, and people like them or they don't like them, but the comic book has always had problems because it's such a comparison to Batman, right?
Yes, absolutely. What was it like to work with old Arrow himself?
Steven is fantastic, very intense man, physically very strong. He kept thinking that he was actually breaking my finger when he wasn't, so I would have to do one without the actual screaming or the acting side of it. But yeah, he's great, and they just had their little Christmas wrap-up, and he brought anybody that had kids, he brought them in, and they were allowed to take photos with him in his Arrow outfit. So I thought, yeah, he's really cool, and he's really behind the show, so that's huge, because he tweets about it all the time. He's on set tweeting about it. And I think he's just very fortunate and knows his position right now, and he wants to maintain the quality of the show.
Alcatraz?
Alcatraz, yeah.
Right.
Played a prison guard on there, and they liked everything I was doing there. I auditioned a few times to get that part, and then I was told there'd be a few more, and suddenly the show was canceled, and you're kind of just like, okay, on to the next one.
And obviously you also had a big role in this, Bong of the Dead.
Bong of the Dead, yes, there's sort of something that's supposed to be me, yes. That was a fun one.
Can you tell us about the character here a little bit?
Yeah, his name was Alex Montgomery Dickens III, and he was basically one of the only talking zombies I've ever seen, and he was basically one of these guys that was sick of the living. He's dead himself, and so he decides to raise an army and fight the living, and he starts off by putting his army of 2 together, which obviously doesn't work. He shows up later on in the film, and he's got a much bigger army now, but he ends up, no spoiler alerts here because it's been all out for a while, but he ends up meeting his demise, and then there's a little sort of a trick.
Demise?
Yes.
He's already dead.
He's already dead. And then there is a little secret ending that's the robot sequence.
That was fantastic.
That hopefully, if Thomas Newman, who did Bong of the Dead, gets stuff going again, he'll be doing a sequel, which will be about the zombie/robot army.
And that suit, was that built by Thomas or that Mike?
Built by Thomas, yeah. Mike Fields is a producer on it, as well as the head makeup. And Thomas built that out of toys and cardboard and then paint. It was a very uncomfortable process being in it for so long, but after I saw the final product, I couldn't even believe it was the same thing we shot. Unbelievable. So he had actually released it as a little short to get some exposure, and it did really well.
And I remember you singing the praises of Mike as well.
Mike Fields, he's one of the best makeup guys in the country, if not the industry. And I've said this before, and I've told you before, and you've had work done from Mike.
Yeah, he's fantastic. He's great.
He makes you feel like it's your own skin.
Yeah.
And that's a huge compliment. He always just shies away from that when I tell him that, but it's true. It is true.
And he plays great music when you're in the chair there.
Yeah, he's quite the character. He likes his vodka, too.
Of course, there's that great scene in Bong of the Dead with when you gathered your army. There's that pregnant zombie woman who gives birth to the zombie baby in the court. And all that stuff.
And there's nudity, like two lesbian zombies who are one's up chewing the other one's mouth off while they're making out, and it's hot in a kind of unusual way.
Wasn't there a velociraptor-esque
Well, there was a guy that was a zombie, but he was moving like that. Yeah, he's right there on the camera. His name's Carlo.
Wasn't he?
Carlo.
Looked like him, sort of.
Show us what you did on there.
Professional dinosaur.
Can you show us what you did? Can you reenact it, Carlo?
That'll be the next episode.
All right, it's not about him.
Okay, true that.
So, from what I understand, you got quite an affection for comic book characters, but you're not such a big comic reader. You've only really read Walking Dead. Is that right?
I guess. I've everything that I like in film and characters and stuff all spawns from comics, but I never was a comic guy.
Right.
But it's come in very handy to see the origins of these characters, especially shows that I'm involved with, right? And now being part of the Hartley show and stuff like that too. It's very invaluable information for sure. But I don't have the history of a comic book guy, but I'm slowly every now and then. But I'm the guy too that have all my action figures at home.
As long as I've known you, the first thing I think I noticed when I hung out with you was this great collection of cool action figures.
Yeah.
You had the Batman, the Superman, the Punisher,
Yes.
Wolverine,
the big Cylon from the series.
Cylon,
that's
first
all
the
signed by
Predator
the
guy.
cast.
Yeah, that's fantastic.
But you did notice too that nothing of mine is in a box. Mine's all out.
Yeah, absolutely.
Play with it if you want.
All my toys, action figures, I take them out of the box too. 'Cause I want to play with them.
Exactly.
Make them pose and stuff.
Indeed. And you're married, right?
I am. Touche, sir. Touche.
I'm not, so hey, go
Although,
figure. Geeks are not the same as they used to be. In
No,
my
they
world,
aren't.
a geek was like in a lot of trouble.
So there you have it. Barry Nerling, the mechanic on Arrow. Thank you so much for doing this, man.
Thanks for having me.
And of
Thanks.
course, thanks to Taz for letting us film here, and thanks to you for watching. Goodbye.